Hey guys, so just me chilling here in bed. Last couple days I haven't been going to class or whatever. I've just been kind of mentally overwhelmed in my head, and I realized like my wheels are kind of spinning, and I've been looking through some like business courses, and I kind of had I don't know, I kind of had a realization, right? Because I've been thinking like about the whole universe kind of being me, and I'm in this place where I really feel like I'm painting in a corner, and there's this part of me that's like, oh man, like, how could I go back and how could I do this? And kind of just going through it in my mind. And I got to talk to the people today because I was supposed to pay them for my accommodation, and I wasn't able to make any money this month. So, probably going to be out on the street. And I've been kind of scared about it, but there's a part of me that's kind of mentally like sort of just decided like okay, that's the reality of what I'm going to have to go through. And I realized like, you know, in terms of knowing where I'm going to get food, or knowing where I'm going to sleep or whatever, and staying warm or whatever, shit's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, and there's a part of me that's kind of like, well, I've done this to myself, and I'm kind of seeing it this way. And there's also another part of me that recognizes like, I'll need to work to get out from where I'm at, and I wanted to build an online, an online business. So I gotta figure something out, right? And I gotta get to work and doing that. And there's a part of me that's like, well, okay, are you gonna trap yourself and basically be homeless? But the thing is, it's like and I've got a laptop, and I've got the library that I can go to for work. And not gonna lie, like, even though it's nice having a bed and being this room or whatever, I low key have just been like laying in it and getting super depressed. And there's a part of me that's realizing like in these cold winter nights that are about to come, the reality is it's like I'm probably gonna have a very difficult 2 to 3 months maybe. And the reality is it's like it's either gonna kill me or force me into something better. And there's a part of me like in the back of my brain that's like, okay, of course I want to be able to have like a nice comfortable place to rest and retreat to and to have a home. But maybe like I've been thinking that maybe the best way to create something and really build it is to know what it's like to get without it. And obviously like I can build support um, for people, and being able to do that. And Marimel might be stuck in Spain far past my visa extension or whatever. And I guess worst comes to worst, they could just throw me back or whatever. But ultimately, like, I want to be able to build myself up and build that home. Build that companionship, and there's the money that I want to scale up to. And I've been thinking about all the ideas. I already know the idea of what I did do with like the books and the writing and the stuff, and I haven't fully gone for it like I've needed to because I haven't been facing it. I haven't been facing it, and there's been the school, and then the accommodation, and that's been on my mind. And I don't necessarily want to be homeless and stuck without anywhere to go, with smelly shoes and like be gross or whatever. But there's a part of me that's kind of feeling like, hey, maybe that's the direction, you know? And then hoping that, I can make some friends or whatever. But there's this part of me that doesn't want people to associate me with that sort of bad part of myself. So there's this part of me that's just kind of like, I gotta get to work, I gotta get to work and execute on my ideas and my plans. And there's, like, I'm really scared. But all I can do is trust that this situation that I'm in is what I'm meant to go through. And because when I look back and I'm like, man, like I made all these mistakes, and I started beating myself up. That doesn't help. And I know that things can change. I know that situations can change. And the reality is, it's like, man, I am 35 years old, and the reality is, it's like, I can't keep doing what I've been doing. Things aren't going to change or get better. And so I have to find my groove. And the thing is, when I was, really down and out and poor and found happiness, I was still able to find my groove and find happiness. And I'm in the city where I want to live. Obviously, it's going to be super cold and not super hospitable. Like, it's not just going to be as simple as sleeping on the beach or whatever. But I imagine, like, I can probably find a sleeping bag or something like that. I don't know where will be a safe place to be. But there's a part of me that's just like trusting that through this process, it'll figure it out. And I know that ultimately, I just have to get to work and really know and trust that that work that I'll do and that I can accomplish will lead to something. And so I have some money in my stocks, and it's funny because it's not like a ton of money to do stuff. And I've been thinking, like, okay, what do I do with it? And liquidate it out. And a part of me is just thinking, like, I need to go all in on the book marketing thing. And I know that sounds risky and dumb. And when I think about it, I'm like, man, that does not sound like very smart, you know? But it's not like I have much, to be honest, anyway. And the reality is, it's like, I can only think, like, that's the only thing I can think of to sort of, to grow and build things. So I'm just keeping it there until I know that I need the money to do something and have a plan for it to really grow and build. But until then, I just have to do this thing that I feel like I need to do. Um, a part of me is like, man, like, I don't want to have to be like homeless or like struggling. And I'm like, where am I going to shower? Where am I going to sleep? Where am I going to use the bathroom? Like, where am I going to do all this stuff, right? But then there's this other part of me that's just realizing, like, the most important thing is I want to become someone who consistently works in building my home, works and supporting my companion, and, obviously making that money so that I can take care of it and provide for my home and everything for myself, but then doing that from the very structure, kind of outside of the matrix. And I know that it's difficulty and there's some safety that I'm losing, a lot of safety, and it is honestly kind of scaring me. But there's also this part of me that just feels like it's on God. And people are like, well, it's on you too. Like, you have to take responsibility. But it's like, I've been doing my best. And, maybe I'm so dumb and stupid that I've put myself in this situation and I'm uninspired and I'm, not meant to succeed or do anything. And, like, in reality, I'm just this giant failure. Maybe that's what I am. Maybe I'm just this giant failure. I don't believe that about myself. But the reality is that there's so many things that I've been wanting to do and trying to get off the ground. And, maybe a struggle, like, the big breakthrough through I Am Soft that I found this year happened in homelessness when I was living in that car in New York. And it was difficult, it was scary, it was cold. And, we're right on cue for another breakthrough. And I don't want to have to feel like I have to be homeless for every single thing to work through. But I think what the reality is, it's that, like, I have, a notebook, I have some clothes, I have my laptop, and I have a phone. And that's a lot more than a lot of people. I have a library with Wi Fi that I can work at. And if I just focus on doing what I need to, I don't know where I'll get food, which is a little scary. But ultimately, like, I'm just going to do what I can. And I trust that things will work out in the end, you know? Probably I'm gonna get to the place where I'm just living off of croissants every day. There's this, you can buy a bag of croissants or whatever for like a dollar euro or what, for like a euro or whatever. And a part of me is like, okay, well, if I buy, one of those a day, like off of 30 euro or whatever, I'll be able to afford it. And the idea is just, I need to get to this place where I'm able to take care of myself and navigate the world and become who I'm supposed to be. And I believe that through that process, I'll become who I need to become, like who I really am. Because I actually don't think it's about me becoming who I really am. I think that even me, when I lay in this bed and like I was going to school and like I've been talking to people like on the internet, like just everything that I was doing before, it feels like there was this character I was playing before. And I'm getting back to this guy who's underneath all that. I was listening to this relaxing medieval music, right? It's just like this video here. This guy and this elf kind of talk, these two elves. And there's something about watching and seeing that just sort of hit me as like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. That's like the kind of stories I'm trying to tell. And I realized that there's this whole dream I have that I've scratched the surface on, and my my material survival has gotten in the way of me fulfilling that dream. And I was thinking about like, oh, I could do dropshipping, I could do my client courses, I could do all this stuff to make money. And I'm having to fight myself again and again to be like, that's not it. Because the thing is, it's like, I could have figured out a way to make money by now. I could have built a different business. I could have done all that stuff. But when I pray and when I'm sitting with myself and I'm like, think of Jesus, when I think of God and I think of my purpose and I see the vision out before me, I just get, don't do any of those things. Focus on this thing right now. And I see this vision of like kind of fantasy and stories, and I realize I am so divorced from that part of myself, but that is so core to who I am that I don't even realize who I am anymore. And it's sad. And so the idea now is just putting myself in a position where I can do and honor that. And I trust that I'll either, you know, I trust that I'm going to build that world, and that I'm going to do justice by what it is I'm trying to create. And then through creating that and finding that freedom and what it is I'm supposed to build in this, I believe God will take care of me. And I think, yeah, I think the reality is it's that I'm going to have some cold nights. I'm going to be rained on and things are going to be tough. But I'm going to document this whole journey for you guys and keep track of it. And then eventually, the Oni Onyabo Raising Project. And I'm going to do what it is I feel called to do. And we're going to end up and be where I need to be. I trust that. But I am scared right now because, yeah, I'm not going to be able to pay these people, and I'm going to owe them money, and I'm not going to have a place to stay. And, I'm broke as a joke, and I have no way of making money right now. But I just trust in this vision of writing and being passionate and just getting back to my core self, because, and it'll be gruff, it'll be gross, it'll be difficult. But there's a part of me that's saying it'll be worth it. And I don't know where that guy's coming from or why I believe that. I just do. And I don't know how many people are even going to watch this video, and maybe it's not very interesting. And there's a part of me that just feels like, man, maybe my journey is not an important one, for anyone but myself. But I'm going to document, and, maybe it makes sense that I should be so low. But I recognize I'm not. It just makes sense because when I think of going back and asking for help and trying to scramble, it never worked before, and I can't keep doing that. And so many people have left and everything. It's just, there's a part of me that would rather die, even though I don't think it's going to happen. But I think the suffering or any difficulty I have physically with my survival won't hold a candle, I think, to the neglect and the abandonment I've felt. Um, and I recognize rising out of that and still, and the most important thing is like as I rise out of this is to keep my compassion intact. As I ride out of this and keep my compassion intact, I think that's the goal of all this. How does one stay loving in an unloving world, you know? That's kind of the theme of The Girl and the Beast. So I'll be writing and sharing that story as well and doing what I can. And, well, we're just going to do the best we can. And I know eventually I'll get to a point where I'll be able to build and grow this thing and just trust the vision. So that's what I'm going to do. So I got to go account to these people, probably stop lessons, be broke, see how it works. And then I got to get to work about what my life is going to look like, basically being homeless in Spain and seeing what that looks like. Anyway, stay happy, stay healthy. Peace.